aircraft gunners were. And many of them got, not many, but a number of them got killed, and many of them were terribly burned. And this one of the most sad things I've ever seen in my life. Many of them were blacks. And they were so badly burned. If you've ever seen a person of the black persuasion who has been burned, you'll see demelanization. It was, it was incredible. Anyway, the second plane that came in, and he had to shallow out his dive. I'm talking about the kamikaze plane now. The most effective was to be directly over your target, be able to dive vertically down because you're going to be more effective that way. Drop your bombs and pull away. Well, this is entirely different because this was a one-way operation for these guys. They knew enough to take off, and that was it. And they were to hit the enemy. Hello, rising sun, heaven, I'm coming. So anyway, the second plane came in, bounced against the side, hit the flight deck, bounced up against the island of the ship, and spread damage all over the ship. A piece of flying Zeke, she was a fighter plane. She was a famous Zero, one of the few left at that time. Sprayed damaged parts of that plane. Now, I had told my seamen, lay flat on the deck, pull your neck in, pull your pants over your head, and hope to hell you don't get hit. And keep your head down. Well, this one kid, he couldn't resist. He raised up. He wanted to see what that enemy plane looked like coming at our ship. And he looked up like that the moment the plane hit the ship and exploded, and he got hit right in the carotid by a piece of Japanese airplane. He gushed like Old Faithful. There was nothing I could do. I held him. Our medics, our hospital corpsmen, were all busy. We had so many wounded. And that was never to be forgotten. Okay, Tony, am I running out of time? All right, I'm on hiding in the smoke and clouds. We've done that. I've told you about our wonderful, wonderful ships that set the smoke screens. You'll see these were action shots that were taken by photographer first class, Whitey Neath, from McLean, Virginia. I'll never forget him. He was a fine photographer, a wonderful guy. He took photos before the war for Life magazine and Look magazine and Time and so forth. He was first class. And he was a photographer's mate first class, and we became very close friends. He was a wonderful person. He had great stories to tell. He was a Southern boy, and he loved to talk, the South will rise again, and I'm going to be here to take pictures of it when it does. Anyway, these pictures come from him, and I've treasured them for these many years. Dodging this and that, we're up to number 16. You'll see some of our planes flying over Leyte. They had to land elsewhere. One of the great things that is never to be forgotten, besides the long battle, was the fact that we didn't know it, and we were hightailing it out of there as fast as we could, limping. We had a 13-degree starboard list, which is about like that. You could hardly stand up on the flight deck. It was so steep. And we had to get out of there. We were sinking. Our damage control people. One of our damage control guys pulled down his pants, turned around and stuck his butt in a hole in the side of the ship to try and stop the water from coming in. Now, I kid you not. And Don, you gotta believe me. It's true. And he did. He got the Bronze Star. And they put it on his you-know-what. But he had to fight for it. And he had to have support because the first engineer who was in charge of damage control was so set on his getting the Bronze Star because he led the damage control crew and he deserved it more than anybody. We all wrote letters. And Clyde Funk of Jefferson City, Missouri, eventually got the Bronze Star for what he did. Damage control saved our ship. Number 20, you want to talk about the burial at sea. You can see the picture. It's one of the most incredible experiences you'll ever have. The bodies of the dead are lined up above the side of the ship on a platform draped by the American flag. There's a sailor on each side. You can see the sailor. The chaplain says prayers. It's very touching. And the sailor assigned on the order lifts the head end, holding on to the flag. The body slides into the water, heads for Davy Jones' locker, never to be seen again. It's incredible. It's incredible. We had a lot of that. We had one burial one day. The ship got the Presidential Unit Citation, which is a very, very high honor. And that meant everybody on the ship who fought in that battle was awarded that citation. The word unit means the unit with which you were. There were Army units, you know, that got the Army citation, Presidential Citation, so forth and so on. So I think I've given you probably more than you want to hear. This last one here of the big black cloud above the ship, that was the St. Lo. I've got to tell you about the St. Lo. A year and a half ago, I was interviewing a World War II veteran, a wonderful guy from the west side of town. His name was Bramel, B-R-A-M-E-L. Anybody here knew Pete Bramel? Yeah. Not Pete, but, you know, something like that. Oh, he was a wonderful guy. He was funny. He was profane in the interview. His sister came with him, and when he was talking and telling stories, some four-letter words would come out in the interview, and his sister would say, "Pete, watch your mouth." And that's all in the interview. I love it. I think it's just wonderful. Well, he was wonderful, and he said, I was a sailor in the Navy in the South Pacific. He said, I was on one of those dumb baby flat tops. I said, "You're kidding." I said, "Wait a minute. You know the term Taffy 3? I was in Taffy 3. Our ship was in it." I said, "You gotta be kidding." I said, "I know you weren't on the Kalinin Bay." He said, "No, but I know your ship, and I know you were on it." He said, "I was on the St. Lo." Interesting sideline. When that ship was launched in Vancouver, Washington, on the Columbia River in 1943, she was first named Midway. Well, then the Navy, in all this brilliance, said, "Holy cow, we got to save that name for a major ship." So they changed the name from Midway to St.